Hey, what's up everybody, how's it going? It's Burke aka Dansgreat here, and in this video we are going to talk about Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac job system PS4 remaster that's going to be coming in about a month. So when I first heard about this, I was just like, yeah, okay, this is cool, but I don't really need to think about it because it's just so far away that God knows what I'll be doing then. But time flies, man, time moves fast, and the game is already upon us, and I am very, very much excited to play this game because, as I've mentioned a few times before, it's a Final Fantasy that I've never played before, even though I've made the movie version, so I have a pretty, well, I have a decent idea of the story, but I don't remember like all of it. I remember maybe like 50% of the story. But in terms of the game itself, I've never played it ever, so it's going to be a new experience for me in that sense. So as with any new Final Fantasy experience, there are some things that I feel like I need to know coming into the game, because I could definitely go into it 100% blind and just have just know absolutely nothing about the gameplay and just try to make my way through it. But there's always, I think, some good in asking people who know the game well to offer some advice, because there's certain things that you might miss out on that could diminish your experience of the gameplay. So one thing that I did for Final Fantasy IX that I felt worked well when starting a new series was asking fans of the game, people who knew their stuff, to tell me certain things about the game so that I had it in the back of my mind while I was actually playing through. And I feel like maybe there's certain things that could enhance my experience, so it's better that I know about them now instead of either just never knowing about them at all in the playthrough or finding out when it's too late. So I want to take this opportunity to talk to you guys about a few things that's going to be in the game and to ask for your opinion about what I should do for the walkthrough. Because those of you guys that know me, I don't like having people just like commenting on every single video saying, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that, you've done this wrong, you've done that wrong. For a first playthrough, I don't really appreciate that. Just imagine that happening in real life, where you're playing through a game for the first time and you have someone over your shoulder constantly whispering at you that you're doing something wrong, or that you missed this or you missed that. But what worked well for me in Final Fantasy IX was having people, having a video where I said, I'm going to read all the comments, you guys tell me what I should be looking out for and what I should be doing in general, and from that, the advice that I took from that, I applied it into the main walkthrough, and I ended up enjoying the game more. And then even if I ignored a lot of the rest of the comments, it wasn't a problem for me. I still ended up having a good time, and I ended up still being able to take on the advice that people gave me about the game. So I decided to do something similar for Final Fantasy XII, but instead of making it like part one of the video, I decided to do a video beforehand. Just to let people know that I'm definitely doing Final Fantasy XII, because there will probably still be some people that don't follow me on Twitter or that haven't seen any related videos where I've talked about the fact that I'm going to be playing through Final Fantasy XII. So first thing first, yes, Final Fantasy XII is coming to the channel. It's definitely something I'm going to be doing, but I'm going to talk about certain things in the game that I want to hear more about, and I want you guys to tell me what you think I should do about it. So let's begin with the Zodiac job system. So I've tried not to research too hard for this game because I don't want to kind of spoil myself too hard on this game. But the whole Zodiac job system thing is apparently something that was originally they released in the Japanese version of the game, or it was an update that they added to the Japanese version of the game or something like that. But it never made it to the Western community until I think maybe there were some patches or something released or something. I don't know. But all I know is the Zodiac job system was something that came later, after the main game. But it's a system in which you can choose particular jobs for your characters, because without this, everyone can do everything. It's like having the expert sphere grid in Final Fantasy X, where you could teach anyone everything, and they could all pretty much be the same character later on in the game. But with the Zodiac job system, you can apparently pick certain roles for certain characters. I think you can pick a maximum of 2 per character. So for this one, I don't really know what the jobs are. Do you guys have recommendations of what I should pick for each character? So I'm the kind of person that there's certain things that I have in my mind where I feel like, okay, these will work well, and I'll just stick to that. So I might not have as wide a perspective as I need to have on this Zodiac job system thing. So if you guys have advice, tell me you definitely need to have this job within your party, or these 2 are a good combination to have, that kind of thing. I'm very open to hearing advice on what you think I should do for the job system, because from what I understand, it's something that you pick at the start of the game and you have to roll with it till the end. So if I make a big mistake, especially as a first-time player, then I'm really going to struggle as a result. So any advice on the actual Zodiac job system stuff, I would definitely appreciate. So talk to me about that stuff in the comments, and I will be paying attention. Number 2, this game has something called gambits, and the only thing I knew about gambits was that a lot of people who didn't like the game complained about gambits because they were like, this basically turns it into an auto battle game. It makes it too easy, you don't have to think about anything, and you know, it's a bit of a stupid thing. So first thing is, should I even use gambits? I mean, if you guys think that turning gambits off and maybe only using it for like grinding, let's say, if you're going to do repetitive stuff, then that's something I'm definitely willing to do, because those of you guys that know me will know I prefer a challenge. If you say to me like having gambits activated throughout the main game, it just makes it too easy, then I don't mind playing with gambits off. It's not a big deal for me. But just talk to me a little bit about gambits and how you think I should use it for a first time playthrough, and I'll be looking into that to see what I should do, because that's something that I'm a little bit unsure about, because I've not really played a game that has something like this before, so I need a little bit of advice on the whole gambit thing. Next up, I don't know how linear this game is. It's definitely not going to be a Final Fantasy X, I don't think, or a Final Fantasy 13. It's probably going to be, I would probably think more like a Final Fantasy 7 type thing, I would assume. So let me know how I should approach the story and the side quests and stuff, because especially when it comes to first time playthroughs, again, it's something I've mentioned before, my like inclination is to always try to play through the story first, because story is what draws me most to these games. I want to know the story, I want to know the characters, I want to know the world, I want to know what happens. So, you know, going through the story and then getting sidetracked for like 10 hours doing side quests is not something that I'd really prefer to do, unless it's a side quest that's really cool, it really interests me, the challenge of it is something that I'm willing to go through before I finish the story. So just let me know what you think. Is this the kind of game where I can just go through a story, let's say have a 60, 70, 80, 90 part playlist where I go through the main story, I don't get bogged down in side quests, and then I do like an extra 10, 20, 30, whatever episodes where I play through side quests. So some template playlists here might be Final Fantasy X, where I played through the story, I hardly did any side questing at all, and then I had like 40 parts, something like that, 40, 45 parts afterwards where I did all of the post-game stuff and dived into all of the side quests. So that's something I could do here. I don't mind. Or it could be, if you guys are saying no, the side quests are really fun, you should take the time to do it during the first playthrough. You know, it's okay to take detours from the story, the side quests are good enough for that, then I'm perfectly willing to do that. I think for Final Fantasy 13 I did that partially, where when I got to chapter 11 I did a little bit of side questing before I continued the main story. That's something I could definitely do. But if you're saying that it's fine, just complete the story, the side quests will be waiting for you, you can go and enjoy them afterwards, then that's perfectly fine for me as well. So let me know what you think about how I should structure the playthrough in terms of the story and the side quests. So that's another point that you guys can advise me on. Next thing, this is something that worked really well for Final Fantasy IX when I asked for certain like missable stuff or just general important advice that I need to know about the game. So a good example of this, the best example that I always think of, is in Final Fantasy IX, people told me to make sure that I continue stealing, because there's certain things that I can steal from bosses that I can't really get anywhere else in the game. And they also reminded me to steal multiple times, because enemies can have up to 3 or 4 different steals. So that was something that I kept in mind, and that's something that I made use of for the rest of the game, and it was definitely helpful. So this kind of advice, if there's maybe an optional character that's missable but that's really cool to have in the party, then make sure I know about it, and that kind of stuff. So missables and any general advice that will help me throughout the entire playthrough, definitely this would be the video to let me know about it. So that's another thing. And finally, apparently there's this whole trial mode thing. From what I understand, this is a little bit like a Via Infinito type thing, where there's different stages and it increases in difficulty until you get to the end, and there's like some really difficult boss battles and stuff. People are probably going to ask me, are you going to do this trial mode thing? Are you going to do that? I don't know. It depends how much I enjoy the game. So for Final Fantasy X-2, I ended up doing most of the optional trials and that kind of stuff afterwards, the Via Infinito and whatnot. But for Final Fantasy 15 so far, I didn't really do it. And even though there was a lot of hype for me to do it at the start, it died down very quickly. So at the moment with Final Fantasy 15, unless I really get into like a phase where I don't have any new games to play for like a month or two, then I might go back to it at some point. But at the moment, I'm not really regretting my decision to kind of leave Final Fantasy 15 where it is for now. So we'll have to see. With Final Fantasy 12, this trial thing did interest me, but let me know what you think about these about that particular side quest or that additional thing that I can do in the game. Should I tackle it? How long will it take me? Will it take way too long to grind? Because that's the kind of thing that I have problems with nowadays, because I'm so strapped for time. if you're telling me that I complete the game at like 40-50 hours, but for me to complete all the side quests I'm going to need to dive in for another 50 hours at least, then that's something I have to think twice about. I might have to pick and choose which side quests I do, because, you know, some of them are just going to take too long. That's like, for me, like 15 hours, 20 hours is a whole other game that I could be playing, so I have to think of it in terms of that. So let me know what you think about that as well. And yeah, just any other general advice for me as a first time player of Final Fantasy XII, I would definitely appreciate it. So as usual, every time there's a Final Fantasy coming out, I always try my best to get some kind of early access. It almost never works. The only time it worked was for Final Fantasy X, and that's because I did something that made use of custom firmware on the PS3, but that kind of stuff doesn't really exist for the PS4, so there's not too much I can do here. I will try the PR people. I'll say to them, look man, I've got a lot of people following me for Final Fantasy. I've always been a good ambassador for the games. Please let me have some early access so I can compete with some of these other big YouTubers and get my stuff out there as well. They almost never help, but you know, it's worth trying. But in any case, I will do my best to not pull a Final Fantasy 15 where I uploaded like 2 weeks before the game's release. I will do my best to be there on release day, uploading the first part, and getting myself entrenched into the game as soon as possible. So that's what you can expect, and I leave the rest up to you guys. I'll try to be active in the comments. You guys talk to me, give me plenty of advice so that I come into the game knowing as much as I can without actually spoiling the experience. Just stuff that's going to enhance my first time experience of the playthrough. And then you can forever hold your peace, so you don't have to be that guy who comments in every single video telling me what I should have done or what I did wrong. So it'll be easier for everyone involved. Okay, thanks for watching guys. I hope to see you for Final Fantasy XII when it begins in about a month's time. Thanks for watching, take care, look forward to reading your advice and your comments.